We have Zev Lebowitz here today from Attio. Zev, I'm so pumped to go through the platform today. I think what you all have built at Attio is really, really exciting. It's probably one of the easiest CRMs I have seen to get set up, get your data integrated, get all of your accounts and contacts and everything set up and ready to go. And I love that it's AI first and built on an AI platform to take advantage of all of the latest and modern AI platforms and techniques. So, Zev, I know you have a lot prepared for us today, but would just love to hear a brief overview of Attio, who you think a best fit customer would be, and then can't wait for you to jump into the platform.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I'm super excited to be here and to walk you through the product. There's a lot we've launched even since we last talked a couple weeks ago
Yes.
that I'm gonna get to share with you. Um, you know, I think the most important thing for us as a product is that we aim to be both the easiest to use, but also most flexible and scalable CRM out there. And those two things, right, like seem like they may be at odds to each other, but I hope today to walk you through the demo to kind of really highlight that the goal of Attio is to be able to mold your CRM to the way that you do business as an organization. And our mantra really is to not feel like you have to change the way you do business to fit into the CRM that you're building and that you're setting up to run, to run your go-to-market processes.
I love it. I love it. No, and I think sometimes the biggest part is just getting set up. So I think the way you integrate with all of their data and make it so easy just from day one is a huge win for anybody looking for easy yet powerful CRM.
Awesome. Yeah, there will be lots of time to value things to walk you through as I jump in.
Perfect. Well, I know you prepared a demo for us today, so excited for you to hop in and show us what Attio is all about.
Great. So here's Attio. Welcome to the product. Welcome to the app. And the very first thing that I want to highlight, covering Attio, is when the first thing you do when you sign up for an account with Attio is connect your email inbox. And when you connect your email inbox to Attio, we immediately populate the system with all of the companies and all of the people that you or others in your Attio workspace have communicated with. So as an example pulled up here, I have the library of all of the companies in our demo environment here for BasePoint. And anyone at the company that has ever emailed, right, with any of these organizations, or rather any organization that you've ever emailed with, will automatically populate in Attio. So in terms of ease of use and getting started, you're not loading data into Attio when you start using the system. And if I take a look at any one of the companies that we have loaded, that you have set up in Attio here, we automatically enrich data in your CRM with data from third-party providers, with industry information, with company size information, with estimated revenue data, again, right out of the box available for all of our customers. And with that syncing of all of the companies and people you interact with, and we'll spend a bunch of time talking today about the relationships and between all of the different elements or data objects, as we call them, within the system. So not only can I see all of the companies that we've contacted with, I can see the actual emails across our company, where we've communicated with them, when we communicated with them. I can also then see related records with, specifically here, the people that we've interacted with. So right out of the box, first setting up your CRM, you've got a whole database of the whole relationship, what we call relationship intelligence and communication intelligence, against your whole network of prospects and customers. And the last thing I'll mention before I jump into some really specific customer examples here are what we call communication intelligence attributes. So I'll add an example of some of other data points that we then are able to display, or they're automatically bring into the system, which are information about when we've been in touch with each of these customers and who at our business has been in touch with them, and what our relationship strength with any given customer is. So Marissa is our strongest contact with Apple. If I pull up relationship strength, right, We understand exactly who in our network, who among our prospects we already have existing relationships with. So again, out of the box, this clear picture of all of your communication history with anyone you've interacted with is just the core foundation that then we use to model on top of all of your core business systems and go-to-market tooling.
This is really powerful because usually you would need another tool in order to get this level of integration with your data. And you would have to go through a whole process of uploading and enriching the data. So you would need like 3 other tools just to get to this point. And this is as soon as you sign up, right out of the box, you already have your entire relationships mapped out. Especially, I love the strength and weakness of the data or of the relationship as well. I think that's really insightful. And who should likely own that contact or that company too. That's really big. I think a lot of people, this is a huge barrier to getting set up properly for most CRMs.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that we just find to be totally ubiquitous across all customer sizes and industries that we work with, right? Just simply understanding, do we know these people? Have we interacted with them? When did we last talk to them? At your fingertips is a huge part of the value add and the time to value that we're providing as a product. So let's then start talking about, how you actually use Attio to run a go-to-market motion. I'm going to open up our deals object, right? Every CRM has a different name for it, but the place that I would go as a rep to see the opportunities that I'm working on, and I've got a view, my own kind of window on the world for the inbound prospects that have come into my pipeline as an AE. And right in this view, we can see that we have access to not only information about the deal, but information about the company this deal was associated with. So Cosme is a B2B finance tech company that's raised $10 million and has somewhere between 50 and 250 employees. And in addition to the enrichment that we do through third-party providers, we also have built in, and you'll see this lots of places in Attio, native integrations for AI. And our approach to AI is really focused on areas of the customer journey and the prospect lifecycle where we think AI adds the most amount of value for adding context to making better decisions on top of your data. So this ICP attribute, you'll see the little stars next to it, is a custom attribute that we've built into our CRM here as an example, which is what we call an AI attribute, where I've provided to Attio a prompt to specify what we define as our ICP. So we define as a business our ICP as companies that have raised money from a VC, they're funded within the last 10 years, we have some location criteria. We're providing this prompt to Attio. It will then assess any inbound lead for that ICP criteria and immediately flag to me, a rep, whether or not this customer meets that definition that we as a business want to set as our North Star. All of the attributes, I've talked a lot about the data points that come out of the box, but another big, one of the other elements that we believe is really unique about Attio is how flexible and easy it is to again create this data model that maps to your particular business motion. So there's no limit to how many attributes you can add to any of your records in your system. Every one of our paid plans has access to custom objects, and we'll talk more about the different object types in Attio to create the particular data elements that represent the people, the businesses that you work with.
I think that's going to be really important to go into because a lot of companies, even when they're early startups, they have a level of complexity in their go-to-market motion, just the way they run their business. So having that flexibility to create a robust data model paired with the ease of getting it set up is really important for these startups.
Yeah. And if everybody's go-to-market motion looks a little bit different. If you're a PLG company, right, you're bringing your product data into Attio. I'll talk about that in a little bit. If you're a two-sided marketplace, you don't just have accounts and opportunities, right, or companies and deals. You've got a whole ecosystem of different data elements, and it's critical for your go-to-market teams to have that whole context in an organizational system that actually aligns to the way you do your business, and that's exactly what the data model in Attio is designed to support. So let's dig in one level deeper. Again, I'm an AE. I've got this new inbound lead that came in. We're reasonably sure that this is an ICP customer, one that we probably really want to chase after, but I want to dig a little bit deeper to understand the relationship history that we've had with this account before I decide what to do as a next step. So I'm going to click into the company, right, that this deal was associated with, and start to kind of peruse our relationship history with this company. So on the activity tab on this company, I can see all of our, all of my and my colleagues' communication history with this company. In fact, we had a meeting with Cosme about 3 months ago. And this is where I'll pause to actually walk you through Attio's built-in call recorder. So if I open up, right, our recording from that call, calls are recorded directly from Attio. You know, we join your calls, whether you're in Google or Zoom or Teams. We take no sides in that debate. But the benefit of having your call recorder directly integrated in part of your CRM is it then immediately, right, links to this data model of relationships that exists within your CRM. So there is no incremental work here to have each meeting tied with the company, which is tied to the users, which is tied to the deal. So this ability to, again, keep all of your data in one consistent place for all of the relationship context is really critical in everything that we do.
Yeah, and in most cases would be another tool that you'd be layering in. You'd be adding Gong or something like that just to get this functionality too.
Yeah, for sure. One other thing that I'll add, about our call recorder is this has been another place where we're really thinking really hard about the right way to use AI to facilitate go-to-market teams getting their job done. So I want to flip to actually our call last week that we had, Anthony, to talk to you a little bit about what we call insight templates. Insight templates give you the ability to define exactly how you want to summarize calls for the information that is most relevant for each step in your go-to-market journey. So you might have a particular set of qualification criteria you use. There might be really specific questions that you want to make sure that you're asking or your post-sales team needs answers to. And you can define these insight templates to create custom summaries of your calls that are available to everybody in the team. And I'm gonna, roll the dice here and do a live demo. So this general discussion insights template right now has 3 sections: key insights, decisions and agreements, and next steps. And in another tab here, I'll show you where you actually define these templates. And I'm gonna add a new section to that template, which I'll call mood. And I'm going to ask our insights engine here to describe the mood of each participant on the call. I'm going to publish the changes to this template, and if I now go back to the place where I'm reviewing this particular call, update the template.
Hopefully, I was in a good mood that day. So
I
guess we'll
know.
see.
I did test this in advance, and it said nice things about all of us.
Okay, good. Anthony
Um,
was angry. He was probably hungry. Didn't eat lunch yet.
yeah, exactly. So we have you can create a library of insights that you can apply to any given call. Here we go, right? You are eager and you are excited about the video project and its potential impact. So super, super easy, right, to take automated notes to collect the particular things that you need out of a call that are relevant to the way, again, you do business as an organization. Again, another example of why we really consider ourselves, AI native in the way that we're building this app.
That's really, really smart. And I love how intentional it is. And I'm just thinking of the ways that we would use this at Lean Scale, not just with prospects, but also with existing customers and our engagements and getting the right information in the right way. Really, really love how integrated and seamless that is. Again, maybe we do this. We manage RevOps for VC-backed startups. Typically, everything you've shown here is a mix of 6 different tools to get to where you're at right now. So really, really impressed.
Thanks. Yeah, we even use our call recorder on internal meetings to just create, quick summaries so that people who didn't join have access to know what happened. kind of continuing on our story here, our journey, right, about qualifying this particular opportunity and deciding what the next steps are, right? We had a meeting with this customer a month ago. We've got some notes that that someone took on a call. This looks like this was a couple months ago as well. I have the whole email history, right, from anybody in our organization and how they've interacted with this customer in the past. One thing to note here is that our email sharing, we have a lot of privacy settings that each user can customize on top of all of our email sharing. So while we'll create records for anyone you've emailed, you can control as a user who, if anybody, is able to see the subjects of emails or the bodies of emails to protect, obviously the privacy of that information in your inbox. But at the end of the day, really important to know whether someone else has been in touch with this customer or not, and that information will always be here. And then, last but not least, right, our deal history with this customer. Marissa had a closed loss deal with Cosme. Again, this was a few months ago. And now, right, I feel like I have a true sense, right, of the whole history of this lead, of what our relationship has been with them in the past. We've used AI and summaries to understand if this is a really good fit for our business. We've got access to our enrichment data to again get a sense that this is a lead that we really do want to pursue. An inbound lead we want to pursue. I do want to pursue. And now we'll start talking about the automated workflows that are built into Attio for how you can take action, right, on data once you've brought in that full context from your relationships and from enrichment on any account that we're working with. So I'm going to run a workflow here in Attio. We've decided this is a lead that I do want to actively reach out to, try to get on a call with, apply really high touch resources here for trying to close. So I'm going to go ahead and run a workflow, and I'll show you how this works in a minute, that we've built to mark this deal as high priority. And when I click mark this deal as high priority, we'll see, just looking at the deal itself, a handful of things changed with just one click of a button. The priority level of this deal has been updated. We've moved the deal to the contacted stage. That's because we've actually sent them an email, and I'm going to show you how we've done that with our sequences tool in a second. And I've created a task for myself to make sure that I get a discovery call on the books by a week from today. And I'm not going to dive deep into it, but we have a pretty rich task management system where I can see all of the tasks assigned to me, that have been assigned to me or others, when they're due, to manage just my day-to-day workflows and follow-ups as well. So the quick button that I selected here was using Attio's workflow tool. We've built a customized workflow to take that really specific set of actions for, again, these leads that a lead that a rep has determined to be high profile or high value rather, high priority. And I want to walk you through what it would look like as a member of a RevOps team or a founder or CTO to actually create that automated workflow to speed up the day-to-day of a team. Workflows in Attio are managed in our workflow tool. They're a no-code automation builder. You can think of it like a Zapier or Make.com that lives directly within Attio. They're also the place where we offer integrations between Attio and other systems, which we'll talk more about later. But the particular workflow that I kicked off as a rep a minute ago to mark a deal as a high priority has really 5 simple steps. We build a workflow that is a record command, which lets any user trigger that workflow automatically on a deal that they're looking at. The next step of the workflow was to enroll the main contact on that deal into one of Attio's email sequences. And I want to show you what that email sequence looks like. But we've taken the people associated with that deal and added them to an email sequence, in this case using one of our sales reps as the sender. You can customize that based off of the owner of the deal or any other attribute within the system. And then the workflow then automatically makes the updates to the record that we showed you a minute ago, updates the deal stage to contacted, updates the priority level to high priority. We calculate the due date for when we want the task to be due, and the workflow creates a task. So I talked a little about time to value and flexibility for just getting in Attio, having all of your contact data there, creating a data model to fit your particular business motion. But when we think about larger companies, right, fast-moving startups, really trying to build a set of automations and workflows and a cockpit for their team to get their work job done as quickly as possible. But in the really way you want to run your business, workflows are just a key portion, a key tool, right? In that toolkit, right, of building these completely automated or semi-automated with a human in the loop time savers to make sure the team is working efficiently, but also consistently in the way they run, they run any engagement that you have with prospects and customers.
It looks really powerful, also really intuitive, and I think this is where kind of the rubber meets the road with, can it handle some of the automation that if you're scaling a go-to-market org, you need that level of automation and handle the complexity. And I love how easy it is to build it out and that everything is just built in. You enrolled it into a sequence. It's not creating a connection to another tool to then sequence, which creates a whole nother like level of work to do to build out in that tool as well. It's really, really impressive to see it all in one place.
Yeah. Again, time to value, one of our key, kind of key drivers here for the way we build the product, putting as much in under one roof as possible. I will talk about integrations because we know, especially with scaling organizations, we think that you should be using the best-in-class tool for each section of your go-to-market tech here at Attio. And integrations with other best-in-class systems and the ability to get data in and out, right, is another key, key value for the way that we run our business and our product, and I'm going to get to that in a couple of minutes as well.
Perfect.
So we're not a closed, we definitely are not trying to build a closed system either, while at the same time trying to make things as easy as fast as possible. Quick overview of our sequences app here within Attio. This is the sequence that we automatically enrolled that user into. When you're building a sequence, you set up a series of emails. You can bring in, right, attributes from the records in the Attio system. So when my first email is going to obviously include somebody's name, but also the name of the company they're associated with. If I want to bring in usage data about how they're using the product, as long as you have that data at Attio, you could bring it right into the sequences that you're building. Because Attio is connected directly to your inbox and your calendar, right, we can make sure that a user is exited from a sequence when a reply is received to the email. When an email is booked, anytime they book a meeting with you, they'll immediately get knocked out of the sequence because you've got a meeting come up with them. And it's another place where we're using AI really specific ways to make sure that the outreach you're doing to your customers is as effective as possible. And this is one it's a fun one that I like to note. Anytime we send an email via our sequences product in Attio, if Attio receives an out-of-office response, Attio will parse that out-of-office response. It will find, using AI, find the date that person is coming back to the office and hold the next email to send until they're back at their desk. Another kind of, I think, fun example, right, of places where we're using AI really, really tactically to make sure that automated tools are acting as close to as intelligently as a human being as you would if you were managing this all yourself manually.
That's really smart. Really smart.
The last couple of things I want to talk about, so we've talked about kind of a day in the life, right, of a rep managing their pipeline, executing on the next steps in a given deal. The same thing can be said of customer success teams working on an onboarding or working on, prepping for a QBR with the customer if you're in customer success. So I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk now just about some of the kind of more advanced features, both in workflows and our data model, to talk about to demonstrate how flexible Attio's data model and workflow system and reporting as well is. So I'll cover just a couple other examples of objects that you can build within Attio. We have 5 standard objects, but then you can create custom ones as well. So invoice is an example of a custom object that you might set up in Attio to track, again, a concept that exists within your business, like an invoice. But the workspaces and users objects are really, really critical objects that we really recommend any of our software businesses get set up within Attio to bring your product data into Attio. A workspace being that kind of top level account that a company will sign up for, and then the users being all of the users that are collaborating within that individual workspace. You can bring that data into Attio via our API or via native integrations with common tools like Segment, or via reverse ETL tools coming directly from your warehouse. So if you've got your product data in a database or a warehouse like a BigQuery and a Snowflake, super, super easy to get a replica of those signups, that customer usage data into your CRM so that your go-to-market team actually knows what your customers are doing in your product. We here at Attio, our PLG company, we have our customers can sign up for their own workspace without ever talking to our sales team. And those signups are the most critical source of inbound leads, right? Really high intent inbound leads for our sales team. So we have a setup very similar to this, right? Where we're bringing in on an automated basis, in our case using Segment, every single customer sign up to our product with information about how many seats they've signed up for, when they started using the product, what plan they're on, how active their users have been in the last 30 days, and what their current contract status is, whether they're in a trial or a paying customer. And these then data points that get automatically ingested into Attio become the trigger for our sales team reaching out to warm leads, become the trigger for our customer success team understanding when customers are at risk of churn, and creating, again, automations and workflows, tasks for our sales team, tasks for our customer success teams, reporting for our leadership to understand what actions we should be taking based off of the whole context of what customers are doing in our app, what relationship, what communication we've had with them, and what ancillary information we're able to find using AI about these accounts.
And that's so important for, especially most of the companies we serve, they're B2B SaaS or AI as a service, and a lot of them have product-led growth motions. They have freemium models, so people are able to just come in, sign up, and often that lead flow, which is core to most of these businesses, ends up being so complicated by like, where are they signing up? Where are you routing that data? What tool are you using to bring them in? And I think just integrating it right here where you can clearly see it, again, just making the life of a salesperson, a customer success manager, so much easier by having access to all the data in one spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've put a lot of work into making our APIs really, really scalable and robust and having a huge amount of coverage across the app so that really, technically for proficient businesses can get all of the data that's most important to them into Attio in the shape that makes sense for their business. So while I'm talking here about build seats and first contract start date, just to be clear, right, these are examples, right? These are attributes you might set up for your objects in your CRM, but each one of these is completely customizable to the particular data points that you track. Anthony, I know we didn't go through this in depth too much ahead of time, but I feel like you're like just really setting me up for the next step here, which is I did want to share like a little bit more of a complicated workflow for exactly what you mentioned, which is triaging leads, right? So we looked at a workflow earlier that was triggered when a sales rep actually wants to click a button and take a series of actions. This workflow is an automated triage process. So anytime a new workspace is created, right? Anytime a new customer signs up for a trial of our business, this is a workflow that will then determine which one of our sales pipelines we want that customer to run through. So first step, trigger this workflow anytime a new workspace is created. Second step, use Attio's research agent to go search the internet to understand high-level context about this company. Give me a 2-sentence explanation of of the company's product and who their customers are. And again, right, help me tag whether or not this customer meets our ICP. We'll use that in the next step to then decide what we actually want to do and which of our lead pipelines we want to send this customer through. We've got our enterprise deals pipeline, right? A really, really high-touch sales-led flow for any customer that is identified, any prospect that's identified as having more than 1,000 employees. What are we going to do? We're going to round robin that lead across our sales team and immediately create a deal for that rep to work on, just like the deal we started with at the beginning, the beginning of this whole exercise. On the other end of the spectrum, right, if a customer does not meet any of our criteria for being worth having a high-touch engagement with, we'll send them to our self-service onboarding workflow, which uses our Attio's integration here with MailChimp. You can send data into a whole slew of other systems, as well as send a webhook into any output you might want to send it to, whether that be Zapier, directly pinging the API of a downstream system, sending into an email marketing system, a customer marketing system like a customer IO, whatever it might be. But routing leads right to our self-service flow if they don't meet the criteria to get that human touch. And in the middle, we've kind of got the most fun one here, which is, well, what about customers that fall somewhere in between? They're not enterprise, they're not fully self-service. In this case, we want to make sure we're pulling out startups to get someone's eyes on it to decide what to do. We don't want to totally automate this, right? We do want to bring a human in the loop into the process. So for any company that's raised at least $10 million of funding, we're not going to fully automate this. We're actually going to bring our team into the process to decide what flow to bring them into. And we're going to do this by sending an update about this particular lead into Slack. So I'll show you exactly what that looks like. We've got a triage channel set up here that our team monitors, and we're sending in a summary to the channel of the customer that has shown up and signed up a workspace, that AI summary of who their business is, what their customers are, best guess, right? Our AI's best guess at whether our ICP, and then giving literally buttons right within the Slack message to decide which sales channel to route this lead through. So we are automating, but we're still letting the human apply judgment at the fringes, right? At these cases where we do want to give our reps autonomy, right? And the ability to decide which accounts are the best ones to work with. So I'm going to click our enterprise route, right? We'll go back into Attio, open up our deals, and I can immediately see, right, that new deal that just got created. It got round robin, it got assigned to Matt, and it's now in the system with, again, just a click of a button to still take advantage of all of the automation to round robin, to get the data in the right place, to get our workspace signups and all of the related information about them into our deal flow, but still allowing, right, our team to make good judgment calls and be part of the process in deciding how we're handling any given lead.
That's so powerful. It's so powerful and so easy to set up. I think, I've been in RevOps for a long time, and just seeing it's a CRM, it's a CSP, it's a sequencer, it's a lead router, it's a call recorder, it's everything you need, plus easy access to get any data in that you need. It's really, really powerful to be able to do that. And I think, for people who may not be as familiar, the amount of work it takes to get all of those other tools integrated and connected and working well together is absolutely tremendous. So to be able to do it all in one platform right out the gate, but then have the flexibility to get complex later or bring in, really specialized point solutions, it makes it a pretty compelling choice when you're setting up a CRM. Like, just start with Attio.
Yeah. I mean, we really think of every customer engagement as an opportunity to grow with us, right? And to start with that kind of out-of-the-box CRM with all your contacts in there for a simple deal flow. But when you're ready to take things to the next level, bring in more custom data, integrate with other systems, bring in additional teams to manage post-sales workflows, right? Attio being a tool that will grow with you is definitely something that's really important to us. So I obviously have to get to reporting, right? Last stop on the tour here. We have a really rich and flexible reporting tool set built into Attio. And again, having all of that data under one roof facilitates getting all of the data for the whole lifecycle journey for a customer into one place. So I'm looking at, right, marketing MQL flow by source right within my dashboards. I'm looking at our ability to convert those MQLs into deals, and I'm looking at the actual total revenue growth of our business over time that incorporates not only right our sales touch deals, but our self-service business as well through the product data that we're ingesting into the system. Because we've got all of our contact, because you have all of the relationship intelligence and contact info into Attio, I can track the number of new customer calls that our team is having with prospects over time. Both over time and last week to see how we're meeting goals. I can then, of course, understand, because we're using Attio as a system of record for our deals, the health of our pipeline at every step of the pipeline. Looking at among our open pipeline closing in this quarter, right? How are each of my sales reps doing? Are they on target to hit their numbers? How much do they have left in the tank? And what's the likelihood that it's actually going to close this quarter? And what are the deals that we want to dig into when I'm sitting down and doing my deal review with any one of these reps? And then kind of deeper analytics on our ability to effectively move deals through our pipelines with funnels. I'm looking at this quarter's funnel versus last. It looks like we're doing a pretty good job here of maintaining our ability to effectively qualify and get customers down through down ultimately to close one. And looking at the amount of time we spend with customers in each sales of the process. This is looking at last quarter versus this quarter. Teams both kept our funnel metrics consistent, but is also doing a pretty good job at tightening up the way we run our processes, getting the average amount of time a customer comes in qualification from last quarter at about 21 days down to 12 in this quarter. So again, having a really flexible reporting tool for asking whatever kind of questions that you want. And again, I'll highlight here, I'm not showing you only the out-of-the-box reports that you get in Attio. I'm showing you the types of reports that you can build with our very, very flexible reporting tool set. So if I go over to create a new report here, I can create whatever type of chart I want off of any of the data that exists within our system, whether I want to report on deals or companies that we're talking to or workspaces and signups of our product. I can choose what I want to report on, what metric I want to report on, what I want to put on my x-axis. Let's look at let's just look at created date. And I can look at the owner of these deals to understand, which of our reps have been contributing most heavily to our, let's say, self-source pipeline weekly over the last set of 4 weeks. Looks like the week of May 12th was a really strong week for creating deals. So again, when I'm talking about reporting here, we're not talking about just the ability to, not only talking about the ability to have out-of-the-box reporting, but really to create reporting on whatever set of objects you have in the system, whatever sort of attributes, at whatever stage of the pipeline I might be managing within Attio. Got a just quick example, right, of a customer success use case here of understanding for our customers that are churning, why are they doing so, and understanding, are we seeing changes over time in those churn reasons that might reflect maybe a change in our sales process, maybe a change in our product that we need to go and investigate. And the very last thing that I'll show you here is, because the reporting tools are built directly into the CRM, because they are sitting on top of the live data in Attio, anytime a new deal gets created, you'll see a little widget here that says, hey, new data available. Do I want to refresh the data with what's happening in our CRM right now? I can always dig down to the underlying data behind any element of any report that I see. So for customers that have recently canceled, who have specified that they canceled because of cost, I can click in, I can see who were those 5 customers. I can dig further and understand, well, when did they become a customer? How long were they a customer with us? And before they churned, what was their ARR, right? To decide whether I want to actually go chase after some of these customers. And Attio, again, not just being a system of record, but a system of action, just like I showed you in workflows in workflows before, right? At any point in the tool, I can go select, right, and a select a record and then go do something with. In this case, maybe I'd add it to a list, right, to our churn save program to go kick off, right, a program that one of our CSMs, right, is going to then follow up with on top of any one of those accounts. So it's all a circle. It's all connected here because Attio is the place where data about our customers lands. It's a place I take action to go sequence, to schedule a call, to send an email to our customers, and the place that I then also report on top of that data for leadership or for just tactical understanding of my particular book for whatever portion of the business that I own.
I love the way you describe that, combining the system of record with the system of action. So when you're going through the data, you're going through the reporting, you can immediately start actioning on that data. Not, hey, let me get that list over to this other tool and then we'll upload it. We'll send that to RevOps so they can tag it and I can start working on it. You can just start working on your data right away. And the way you built the reporting to be able to drill in, that's how it happens. You're in a pipeline review meeting, you're in an executive dashboard review meeting. You go look at the churn accounts. You go look at, why did all of these deals get built on that time? Let's cut it by lead source. Let's dive into the details. Is there something wrong? Or, no, I just need to see the detail to understand it. I think that day-to-day experience and day-to-day actioning on the data is what people are looking to do. And more often than not, they're held back by their systems to be able to have that bias towards action and take the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Anthony, that's what I wanted to walk you through today. I hope this has been fun for you. I always love getting to show off Attio to new folks. But I really appreciate you having me on, and I hope that this is useful to your guys' audience.
No, I appreciate it, Zev. I'm really excited to get it first in front of our customers. I think a lot of our customers would be interested in what you've built, how you've built it, and getting in front of our team, and of course, the audience that we have on YouTube and LinkedIn and other social platforms. I think will really enjoy watching it. I appreciate you not just showing the output, but showing behind the scenes of how to build it. So for a lot of the RevOps folks who are like, okay, well, how do I actually build those automations? Is it smoke and mirrors? No, here's how you actually build those things. And again, I just want to reiterate, really impressed that in one platform, it's a very functional CRM, customer success platform, call recording solution, sequencer, full reporting suite, everything that you need to get up and going quickly, and then getting your data that's living in your email and calendar in there right away. It's really, really impressive how you've put it all together, and just excited to get it out there. So
Yeah, glad to hear it. I really appreciate that, and I think you really hit the nail on the head for that. For talking about builders, right? Being the folks that really get the most out of Attio, right? That maybe you're a RevOps, maybe you're the head of RevOps, maybe you're the first sales rep who's in charge of building the system out. Maybe you're the CTO or the CEO, and you need to get a system. You want to build out. You want to onboard a CRM that actually maps the way that you've built your product and the way that you're running your business. Those are the folks that when I get on calls with them and I see the workflows they've built, I'm really wowed and floored by in terms of their ability to customize and map and meld Attio to the way that they want to run their business. We talk about builders as being the persona that we're really going after and that we think are the best fit for Attio today. And I'm really glad that that's something you picked up on.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much, Zev. Appreciate it again, you being here, and can't wait to see what you guys build next.
Awesome. Thanks, Anthony. Take care.